welcome in everybody. I do apologise for the intros getting all mixed up there. What had happened was I'd pressed the button and forgot to go live. So I did a mystical.
Hi, everybody.
So welcome in everybody. We have got the pleasure tonight of chatting to my amazing, beautiful sister, Lunar Paranormal Eclipse, who I have knew for a lot of years now. I think we've knew each other for about what, Lunar? About 6 years? Maybe 6 or 7 years now? From the beginning, anyway.
How long have we known each other, you saying?
I think about 6 years because I was fortunate enough that when I started to go live and kind of go out on YouTube, I was fortunate enough that when I kind of started my journey, I met Sherry quite quickly, Uncle Danny quite quickly, and you guys quite quickly, which is you, Christina, the other lady, what's her name again? Carol. I'm trying to think who was all around. There was you, there was Lunar, Cassie. Yeah, there was quite a few years away back then in your little group. I think about
I
6
don't
years or
think
so.
it's been that long because I haven't been streaming, but
I'm trying to think when that was.
you did. So, well, I don't know if you were streaming then, but it was when I met you, you had just started or was starting.
Yeah.
And I just started. And I had just started too. So it's been like 4 or 5 years, maybe about 5 years.
There you go.
It's been
5 years, yeah.
I don't know. It's been like, let me look. I can tell you.
Yeah, it's been a while. Guys. I'll tell you how we met. Sister Sherry, I'll go through that bit in a minute. I think we'd already met Sister Sherry and Uncle Danny and things on the live streams.
So,
but I had went.
I met you.
I remember on the live stream. Right.
And you when Z was there and you, that's when I met you because I was actually running the stream when he met you, and it's went on from there.
We were at Greyfriars.
Yeah, at Greyfriars, yeah.
That was the second time I had been at Greyfriars, guys, to actually investigate. And what we had done that night was we had already investigated about 4 different places up the Royal Mile. We had done Mary King's Close, we had done Barry's Close, we had done the toll booth as well, but the toll booth video didn't turn out. And then our plan was to go to Greyfriars at 3 o'clock in the morning. So we kind of went to different locations until 3 o'clock in the morning. And as we were going into Greyfriars, Citizen Z was sitting outside on a live stream. And that is how we met Lunar, because Lunar was on that live stream. So, yeah. So I was really nervous away back then. Away back then I had only just started to go live as well. And I couldn't go live myself. I always had to have either Chris with me, Sister Sherry with me, or Uncle Danny with me. And Dobie as well. She used to come up with me sometimes away back then. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. 4 years going on 5. It'd be 5 years. It'd be 5 years, I think. Well, it might have just turned 5 years in February.
Yeah, probably.
So,
we've came and went through a few lives. This is my point of these Saturday night lives. It's about me talking to people that has been in my path for a while and that I've never really had a chance to speak to one-to-one. So last week I did have Audrey, who's amazing. I love Audrey to bits. So last week we had Audrey. This week we've got Lunar, who I want to really dive a little bit deeper into you tonight, Lunar. And I won't go too deep, I promise. But I know that we sit in with a lot of panels together and things, and we jump in and out of different groups together. But who is Lunar? Where did you grow up, Lunar? Tell us a bit about where you grew up in your childhood. By the way, just anything you want to say.
My life started, I was born in Chicago. Illinois.
The Windy City.
I didn't move to Indiana till I was uh, 14, I believe, 13, 14.
Right.
Down here, my mom's family, my mom and dad both are from Kentucky. So we moved down here because of family and stuff. My dad retired from up there from a construction company. He drove a semi 18 wheeler for them for years off of Cicero Avenue in Chicago. And so he retired from up there. So moved down here, and then he went to work when we come down here. He did a partial retirement, I guess, and well, he was fully retired, but he decided he wanted to work some more, so he went to work down here. But we moved down here because of family. But as far as when I started in the paranormal was I was 5 years old. Pretty much everybody knows this story, you know, when I started. But for those who don't, I started when I was 5. But other than that, that's my childhood, you know. I mean, I grew up on a farm. We always lived on a farm. We had horses when I was young. I started showing horses at the age 5.
Wow.
But other than that was my childhood.
Brilliant. So, did you have anybody around you, Lunar, growing up that was maybe witchy, spiritual, or were they really good church goers and things?
My family didn't talk about stuff like that on either side, actually.
Right.
I didn't know my dad's side of the family very well. He was kind of the black sheep, so we didn't go around them a whole
Nothing
lot.
wrong with that.
They were all religious. Like I grew up Southern Baptist way. My dad was Southern Baptist, but we didn't go to church or anything like that. We did once in a while, but not very often. And but it was basically Southern Baptist belief because his brother was a preacher, his father was a preacher, and so that's, you know, so naturally he was that too. But anyway, when on my mom's side, though, is a different story. We didn't talk about it, and I really didn't realize how they were or how any of them was until later on in life.
Right.
I kept it quiet. I never told anybody how I was. I never said anything because, you know, back then you would have got put away. You'd have been put somewhere, in an asylum somewhere or somewhere like that, and that would have been the end of it. But not so much now, you know, but even now you have to watch who you tell to as far as professionals go, because or how much you tell them, you know, to a certain extent. If you're seeing a therapist, because they will you know that you're having delusions or like, well, especially when I tell somebody that I actually I can go and see places and be awake. You know, I mean, they really think I was crazy, you know, and stuff. But it didn't say stuff like that back then. Now, since then, and I always knew that that I was a witch. I always knew that I come from a long line of witches. I don't know why I knew that, but I've always known it. And my mom, actually, she never talked about it or anything. The only thing that come close to it was that when she was being born, there was a midwife, and the midwife was gypsy. Well, we, you know, for the most part, gypsies have that side of them, you know, that they believe in different beliefs. Well, anyway, she wanted to name my mom Rosabella Nell, what she didn't get to, and she named her, or she didn't name her, but my grandmother named her Ernestine Nell. Nellie. But anyway,
Right.
the deal was is that she supposedly put a curse on us. Well, I don't believe that curse happened,
Right.
and that's why we have this intuition and stuff. But it's not that. I knew
Right.
it wasn't, but that's the going talk about it. But um,
But
I
like I
realized my
say,
mom had gut feelings and stuff, and that she would say things like, "Don't do that because I just know you don't need to do that, or you can do this. This is what you're supposed to do," stuff like that. And I never really put two and two
yeah.
together till I grew up, and
Mm-hmm.
because it's something they didn't talk about. But me and how I am and how I know that I am, um, I remembered stuff about past life and stuff, and I just know that I was a witch. I was born a witch, and I've always been a witch. Same as you.
So when
Same
you were,
as
how did that manifest as a kid then? Were you always just much like me, where you were always kind of talking to the moon and maybe just liking to walk in nature? How did that manifest in your life? Did you find yourself talking to spirits and things?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had no choice. I mean, they were talking. I mean, it just happened. I
Yeah,
mean, I see my first thing I've ever seen anything or hearing anything. I was 5 years old that I can remember.
yeah.
That I can remember back was 5 years old. I think I've always known things about people
Mm-hmm.
that I should know, and I've
Mm.
always been able to talk to the spirits. Now I can close that off to a certain extent. Some of them get through, and I've
Yeah,
been known to close up and just not do anything. I did for years. I
right.
didn't. I mean, I may see something once in a while and stuff like that, but I really just closed it off for a long time. It's because I had to learn how to control everything all on my own. I didn't
Oh yeah,
ask anybody, tell anybody, and that's not an easy thing to do.
oh I
So
bet.
when I hit teenage years, I was like, look, I'm done with this. I'm not doing none of this, and I just shut down and I closed it all out. Well, I was 43 years old before I ever told anybody that I could do any of it,
Yeah.
and then
I don't
family
blame
members.
you, Luna. I don't blame you. Yeah, because way back then, I mean, people look what the stories Uncle Danny has told us about being locked up and things because he's telling people about his gifts. So that's understandable that you kept that to yourself. Do you think because you did keep that to yourself and maybe what about your guides? Do you feel your guides were communicating with you way back then?
Yes, but I didn't realize how to communicate with my guys to the last, really, actually, recently to get their names. I've always knew they were there,
Right.
always, but I didn't really pay attention to them, or I just, I never really decided to talk to them, I guess you could say. Um,
Yeah. Because you just think
but
it's voices in your head or your
they may
subconscious or
have been the
something,
ones,
don't you?
they may have been the ones talking to me all along, and it not be another spirit, but I don't think so. I think the spirits would come and talk to me, all of them, and
Yeah.
I think it was all the guides, but I think they did talk to me, and I heard them, but I didn't put them differently than the spirits. You know what I'm saying? I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't separate that. So I didn't know if they were spirit or if they were my guides. So, but
Yeah. And I
I
don't
will
think we're
say,
supposed to know a way back then. I think it takes the life journey and then we find out all that. I feel as if that's the same for myself in a lot of ways. That right now I'm just discovering all this as well. But it's interesting to talk to people like you because you have always been spiritually open and I'm only just now realizing about the energies around me and feeling them and recognizing them. So that's how it's interesting to talk to you guys about how you felt as kids, feeling all those energies. Because I know feeling them now as an adult that it can be a bit scary. So was there ever anything that really scared you way back then, Luna? Was there anything that was scary about it all?
I think the first thing for everybody, and everybody has abilities. Some choose not to use it. Some don't know they have it, and
Yeah.
some just thinks it's a gut feeling or something like that. But it's an intuition. It's a empathic side. I think is the empathic part is the part that opens up first. Like you feel other people's feelings and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that for that. I think it opens up first. It's what opened up first for me, and then it just went from there. It went from that to seeing to it just I didn't know that I was feeling other people's feelings because I was
Yeah.
so little and young, you know. You don't realize that. But then you
Yeah.
go from that to to seeing, and then you start hearing things, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going crazy. You're 5 years old. You're thinking, okay, what am I hearing? Who am I hearing? Who's these people talking to me? You have to sit, and it took a few years. I mean,
Lunar, I felt as if I was making up lies about people in my head when I first realised I could hear people's thoughts
I know
and
you
that I
feel
could
that way.
kind of analyse them. Yeah, for a long time I thought that I was twisted and I was bad because I could feel certain things about people, and I thought, you're really evil, Andrea, thinking that about those people. And then it wasn't until like maybe months down the line that it all came out about certain things. But it's took me a long time to realise that I actually felt all that before it was revealed. Because at the time, a lot of things I felt as if I was a really bad person and I was making up stories in my head. Did you
I
ever
was
feel
like,
like that?
yeah, yeah, oh God, yeah. And
Yeah?
even when I was grown, I was thinking, man, you've been doing this all your life. Are you crazy or what? And then
Yeah?
finally, my cousin come to me and she said she could read tarot cards, and I'm thinking, okay, because I didn't read books about this. I didn't nothing. I just
Right?
knew how I was and what I could do, but I'm thinking, can everybody do this? And just don't talk about it or what? I just didn't know. So at 43 years old, she comes to me and says that she can read tarot cards. So I'm like, okay. So we went over to her house and she's reading my cards and stuff. And I'm like, I have something to tell you, but I don't want you thinking I'm crazy. So I told her, and she said, you're not crazy. She said, and you're not the only one. She said, I don't
See?
talk to she said, I don't talk to spirits, but I know they're there. And she said that she was empathic. She could feel feelings and stuff like that. And sometimes she could touch somebody and tell if they were sick or not, and stuff like that. Well, just other things, she could do. But I was like, are you kidding me? I said, all this time, I said, I haven't told anybody to do the first person. And it was her and her daughter because her daughter's very, very open to the spirit. She's like me, definitely a witch. Um, and I said, okay, but do you think the witch side comes from mom's side, our side, which her father was my mom's brother? And she said,
Right.
definitely. And I said, so do I. And she said that she'd had a reading by this lady that had gifted her tarot cards. And she said that the woman told her that we come from a long line of witches and are people who are in tune, as she put it. And I said, really? And I said, that's how I feel too. And I said, and this was before I had the opening up about the past life part,
Yeah.
which you're involved, and so is a few others: Kim, Sherry,
Yeah.
Christina, um, Misty. Uh, there's a few of us, Danny, and I didn't realize I could see you guys, but I couldn't see your faces. And I just come to the realization, like it's only been what about a month or two that we've come to this realization that we all knew each other in past life, and that there's a very good possibility that we were uh,
Yes.
sisters in past life. Anyway,
Yes.
um, so with telling her, it just kind of opened a door, and then my other cousin, I talked to her about it, and her daughter sent me a video from Oh My Gosh TV. Well, okay, I watched that, and then it sent me to all of you guys. It just went on down the line. It went to Boomer, and then it went on down the line. Well, and I'm like, really, this is all out there, and that's when I met Danny, and that's when I started. And Sherry actually met Sherry in a chat, and it was her, me, and Boomer was in this chat. And next thing you know, we're channeling each other, all
Oh,
three of us.
wow.
And I'm like, that was a first for me to ever do that. I knew what I knew kind of what I was doing as far as the channeling part. I didn't realize that's what the name of it was, but I knew that we was feeding off of each other's energies, and that we was passing. It was like they would say one thing, I'd say another, and then she would say, Boomer would say something, and it's like we just knew what each other was doing and what we was
Yeah.
singing, saying, and it just opened up a whole different side of it for me. And
Right.
like I've always been like this, but
Yeah. That's like what happened when I met yours. Yeah.
to let it out like that is just a total different thing, and when you finally meet other people like you, it's just it's amazing feeling because you realize that you're not, if you're crazy, we all are,
Yeah.
so I mean, that's what I'm saying, I mean, it just you know how it is, Drew. Whenever you met all of us,
Yeah.
it opened a whole new door for
Yeah.
you.
I
So
had snippets, Lunar. I had different snippets of different things I had learned, different things I had experienced and things. And then when I met all yous guys, and remember Uncle Danny started doing the teachings, I think you were in the classes as well about the
I
four
was
winds. That opened up a lot to me. That placed a lot of it together for me to give us that. Remember, he told us how to do the little bowl with all our ancestors and things in it, represented by stones and things. That opened up a whole new level for me because it gave me a focus to start focusing on my ancestors, maybe Pacific ancestors, Pacific angels, or whoever I wanted to call forward to deal with. So for me, as somebody that wasn't open all my life, that opened me up to realizing that a lot of the things I had been feeling through my journey in this world wasn't made up in my head. It wasn't things that I was trying to make up about people and cause trouble. It was things that I was hearing from either them, their guides, or anything, probably to help them. But I just didn't know that way back then.
right, right, and before you opened up, have you thought back about things you done through your life before you actually opened, about things that was leading you to this? Like, did you have like gut feelings, or did you have like something like,
Yeah,
say, I know I shouldn't be doing this, or I know I
yeah,
don't need to do this because, or whatever? Did you have them moments like that all the way through?
yeah. No, looking back, I definitely did. I mean, I had forgot about being a young girl and staring out the window every night. I had forgot about that until my mum told me about it. And then I realised a way back then that I had also every day, every night, spoke to the moon, even in my journey going back and forward to wherever I was going throughout my life. So I think that's why I was telling everybody the other night to give themselves the time to sit down and reflect back on their life journey and try and remember little things that essentially your guides have been probably trying to tell you all along. I think that if a lot of people done it, especially after a meditation, a lot of people would realise a lot of things about themselves and then realise they're not crazy, and that some of these things that we felt even now or way back then or as kids, or things that people that we've helped or people we've wanted to help, it was all because we were spiritually opening even as kids, So it's all one party, one big journey, that none of us are ever at a level where we've learned everything. We're always learning and always discovering new things. I'm just glad to be in the journey.
Right. I mean, it's an experience to go through. I mean, it's just I'm thinking, why did I wait till I was 43 before I said anything? Looking at, I'm thinking to myself, because I've helped people since I opened up here on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Least ways I hope I helped them. They say I have. I hope that I.
Lunar, sis, can I just tell you something right now? My best friend Shell, she's in the chat. She is your number one fan. And do you want to know why? Do you remember when we all first got together and Shell was part of my ghost hunting team? And we all were getting to know each other. And I think one night you channeled her gran for her. You got a message through. I think it was on a live stream. And we figured out through that message that it was Shell's gran who was speaking to you. That message that you gave her that night described her gran down to a T. And her gran never ever came through for any spiritualist churches, not even for me or anything with the spirit box. So Shell really, really appreciates that. And anything that's got your name on YouTube, Shell watches dedicatedly in case there's another message in there for her gran or something. But she's your number one fan. And I think sometimes us being the people that are scared to speak up, I think you need to know these things, that even though you're afraid to open up and you're afraid to maybe say things that maybe you don't really feel comfortable at saying, just know right now that you have helped a lot of people you probably don't even realise you've helped, because you're not there to watch back your live streams and hear the messages that you are saying at the time. That some viewer is going to watch back and say, that's for me, that message, You just think you're chit-chatting at the time and that these energies probably will never be discovered. But the message is in there for somebody. So just know that.
Well, I think I remember that. I think that she was one of the she was one of the first persons that I ever did that for on YouTube. Now I had done it for other people, but not on YouTube. And I think she was in it. I just told her what come to me and what he said to me, and that's all you can do. Now it may hit home and it may not. I'm not going to say that I'm 100% accurate, because there could be another energy coming through that you can't separate, or that comes through and it kind of leaves something and then they go on. You know what I mean? It kind of mixes a little bit and then it stops. So I will never say that I'm 100% accurate, but I would hope that I come at least as close as possible to being accurate. Even my mom agreed. You told me, I will be forever grateful. You're welcome, Shelley. Anytime. I mean, anytime something comes to me, I'll tell you. But I remember him coming through. It was really clear. He had a very strong energy, and I don't know why he hasn't come through to anybody else. I mean, I don't know, but it could just be. It could be me and him was on the
grand, yeah. And the reason that she knew was because you had said on the message that it was something to do with my girls. Our gran always called her nieces my girls. And you had said, it was a message, something like that. And Shell knew instantly with the way you said it. and the words that you said, the message was definitely from her gran, because the way you said it and the wording of it. But yeah, I just want you to know, a lot of you even listening to this back, there's sometimes you channel messages from people and you don't know what it means to that person. I mean, I even get it with tarot readings and things, but just know, all use medium, psychic people, people that get messages for spirit, even though you think maybe you're sitting there on a live stream with a spirit box on and somebody comes through and you might think, oh, it's just random spirits. I do believe that those spirits that come through those boxes, maybe it'll take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. But those messages coming through those boxes and things are probably for somebody that's just not heard it yet. So I want you
Yeah,
to
they
feel empowered by
may be
that.
somebody that's going to listen to it later on. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that,
Yeah.
it may be somebody a year from now listening to YouTube and listens to one of your sessions and say that's for me. I mean, it happens. I
Yeah.
I've had that happen
Mhm.
actually before, but um,
Yeah.
I've I've had a few people that I've channeled for, done stuff that I've told messages to.
It's
Um,
confidence, though, isn't it, Luna? Yeah, I think it's confidence to say what you're hearing and
yeah, but
say
it's
what you're
taken me a long
feeling and
time to get
things.
that. When I first
Yeah.
started on YouTube, I had a few people telling me, "Oh, you're fake. You don't know what you're talking about." And I had this one guy, and I will say this was in Danny's chat, I believe it was one time, and he and I don't know, he said something in chat, and I told him I read him, in chat, and he's like, "You didn't get none of that right." And come to find out, I had all of it right, and he just, from what his family member told me afterwards, said you had all that right. He just wouldn't admit it, but it knocks your confidence down in yourself. Like I've always had
Yeah.
problems with confidence. Always had that problem. I still do. I have more confidence now than I used to. Trust me, but I still, even with this, is I still have doubts about whether I'm getting something right, or am I doing this right, or I don't know. And
Yeah.
Danny tells me it's just me. He said it's just your stinking thinking, and I can see that, but
Yeah. That's what it is. It's the confidence to say, and it's because of those old shadows. Because with me, my mum always told me to stop staring at people. Andrea, stop staring at people. Stop. You know, to me though, I was just really looking at them, and I was hearing. Thinking back, it wasn't really like I was hearing stories from them. It was more like I could feel like an energy or hear things in my head to direct it to them. I don't know. But my mum snapped that right out of me with making me stop staring at people and things. But now when I do it and I'm starting to bring on my gift again, I realise why I get closed down. Is that with my mum? Because you're not meant to stare at people in the 70s, you know? It's all about the dog.
it's all right. I got a dog over here that may start barking. You never know. He does it.
Was
If
weird.
he hears a door close in the apartment, he starts barking. He thought he thinks somebody's at the door, but he's got to be heard. Um, I, I, I
They
think
don't. I feel like Sparkle feels the spirits as well, though, because see that dog. I really do think she thinks she's human. She stands at the bottom of the stairs and even barks up as if she's human. Like William or one of the kids will stand at the bottom of the stairs and maybe shout, "Mom, come and make me a bit of toast or something." And I think that's what Sparkle does. She stands at the bottom of the stairs barking up as if to say, "Come and let me out." So she's
well,
been here
I
before.
think they, I think they do too. I think mine does too. Now he'll sit there and he'll look around, or he'll look over at the wall, like, and then he'll look around and stuff. I know he sees them, but I think he's gotten so used to them now, because I have the same ones here most of the time, and like my spirit guides and stuff, Jacoby. When he's not here, but when he is here, he stands behind me most of the time and walks up and down the hallway here, checking out everybody in the park. But he'll stand behind me most of the time and look on my shoulder and read my chat, whatever I'm doing, and chuckle once in a while. But sometimes he goes to training and stuff, but he's back. Now, that's my spirit guide, you guys, in case you don't know. But I know that he knows he's here. And he's gotten so used to him, the dog has, that he don't pay him no mind, too much anymore. But
see, that's like Sparkle with Timber. Now, I know when Timber's around me because my feet either go cold or they go hot, depending on whether he's here or not. And I know when the minute my feet go cold, I usually know that Timber is either walked away or he's away doing something. And it's funny because you'll find that Sparkle will usually come into the room at that point. So it kind of swaps. It's as if Timber won't be in the room if Sparkle is in the room. They kind of give each other mutual respect, if you like. Oh, thank you, Sister Sherry. So one will stay in the hall and one will stay in the room with me, or in here in the witchy room or something. So it's interesting to feel the energy change between Sparkle knowing when she's to be beside me and when it's Timber's turn, So they must have a mutual understanding, the two of them.
Yeah. Well, I just realized here recently that I have a wolf. Right. And yeah, I think that you can tell when he's here, when he's not outside or he's inside here with me, because the dog I have, he kind of stays away from me. He doesn't come around me. He won't come over here beside me and one up on my chair or anything. So he just kind of stays away. But then when he's not here,
it's appreciated, Sister Sherry. Thank you very much.
It's like a while ago, he wanted up here.
Thank you.
He wanted up here on my chair because Frank wasn't here. He's Frank's mom's dog, and Frank's mom passed away. Well, he got the dog, right. and but anyway, when Frank's home, he don't want nothing to do with me. But Frank ain't here, he does. But
right,
I knew that my wolf wasn't in here. For starters, well, I kind of felt that he left, but I knew he wasn't in here because he wanted up on my lap. But when he's in here, he will not come up here on my lap, period.
Yes, that's like Sparkle, yeah. It's as if they have a kind of mutual understanding, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about spirit guides then and spirit animals while we're on that subject. So what do you believe is all around you then? I do, for an example, I believe I've got my wolf, which is Timber. I believe I've got my gran around me, which is, her name was Mary when she was alive, Mary Miller, and that is her up in the photograph up here, guys, who I always say I look alike, and I feel as if she's got my cheeky smile. I mean, I'll show you, right? And then you can tell me what you think.
I have Jacoby, which he's a fire elemental. He's Astro's. Everybody knows Astro.
Yeah,
he's Astro's grandson.
All right.
Aura's son, which is Sherry's elemental she has. Yeah. Anyway, he's here. He's mine. He will always be with me. Now outside, I have at the tree here, I have Logan. He is a tree elemental, or tree god, as Christina puts him. And I just I had somebody tell me that I had a spirit outside here that was a tree spirit I don't know, a couple of years ago. But I did, and I always knew he was out there, but I never asked him his name, never Never talked to him, nothing. I didn't really realize that he was there for me. I thought he was just hanging out, and that it was his tree. But come to find out, he's here because of me. Anyway, he's out here, and his wife or girlfriend or whatever she is out there. I don't really know. I think it's his wife. I haven't really asked that side. No, I don't get too nosy. Then I have a wolf.
Yeah, even the spirits, you don't want to get too nosy.
I have a horse.
Oh, interesting.
As far as spirit animals go, I have a horse. I have a wolf. I have an owl. A cat, a big cat.
So you're well protected then.
I want to say it looks like a.
So do you think some of them are from past lives then, Lunar?
Huh?
Do you feel as if some of those spirit animals and some of your guides are from past lives as well?
Very well.
Got quite a few animals.
The horse, I think, is this lifetime.
Right.
But the wolf, I think, my understanding is when a wolf picks you, you don't pick them. They come to you.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And you have them for life. They pick their human, and that's the human they have for life. Now, all of our wolves, I believe, are from the same pack. That's my understanding. All of your wolf, my wolf, Christina's, Sherry, Kim's, they're all from the same line. As we are connected, they're connected. Now, let's see what else I have. I did say owl, right? I do have an owl.
Yeah, you said you have. Yeah.
And my mother's here a lot, but she's not really. She's a guide, all right.
Yeah.
She comes and goes.
We
have two more guides that come and go, and that they switch up.
See, that's what I think about my uncles. Yeah, I think my uncles switch it up with me. I've got 3 main uncles I think they switch it up. So that's interesting you say that.
Yeah, I have an uncle and an aunt that was here, but I do believe that the one aunt has switched with the other one.
Right. That's crazy to do that, though, isn't it? But I feel my Uncle Gordon and my Uncle Andrew swap places around me, because sometimes my Uncle Gordon always smelled like a kind of diesely smell because he worked with cars and things. So anytime I smell that around me, I usually instantly think of my Uncle Gordon. And my Uncle Andrew is who I was named after. So anytime he's around, I always feel chills from the top of my head to the bottom of my back. So I think that's his way telling me that he's around me is when I get that. And I don't know why I know that, guys. I just know. I don't know. But that's the feeling I get, that it's him,
I was reading that. I'm behind in that, so I was reading what Christina put about my mom coming. Yeah, my mom come through her, and she let me have it.
But yeah, have every question. Yeah, you get any questions, guys? Every good question. Every good question. I thought you said, have you got any questions? Every good question. Yeah. I was just thinking as well, I think when we were talking about the guides there, about them being from past lives, that's interesting for me just to realise that for a split moment there, because Sister Sherry and I last night we were talking about the meditations and things that I have been able to connect through Sister's meditations more than any other meditation I've ever done, just for people in the chat that didn't see last night's stream. So through doing that, I think it is going to be a gateway for us all to realise how we're all connected. And I think the wolves have got a lot to do with it. With you saying that the wolves and things are all the one big family. And I'll need to speak to Uncle Danny about this, but do you feel that our wolf pack, which is essentially Uncle Danny's wolf pack, do you feel that that is the main thing that keeps us all together? Well, not keeps us all together, but has brought us all together? Or do you feel that there's more, like the sisterhood?
Well, I think the wolf part is because it's a spiritual thing with our abilities. I think that's part of it. I think that he's been a mentor to all of us. But as far as a past life and us being sisters and all that, I think that we, as a spirit, I think we have certain people that we are to be around and to stay around through every life we live. And I feel like you guys, it doesn't matter in what life we are in. I think all of us find each other. I think that we are meant to be with each other at some point in the afterlife and in this life. Not just now, but always. I think that our spirits know each other before we ever met. And that's how come I think that we have become such a close group, and because we are together like that is because our spirit recognizes the other spirit, and that we are just meant to be like this. And I think each lifetime that we go through, it's a learning thing for us. We learn something in each lifetime. Now this one, in this lifetime we're in now, I think that we have all grown in this one more than we have in the past ones. Like I said, I think that you was always a witch. Sherry's always been one. I've always been one. Now I don't practice it, but I do know about it. Do I know how to do spells? Absolutely. It's just something I know. I don't know. Like I said before, I don't know how I know all this, but I do. And
see, that's another thing about feeling you're lying, though, isn't it? Because some things you don't have any clue to why you know these things.
Any idea? You're like, where did this come from? I mean, how did I know this? How did I know that? I mean, it's like I really thought about things that I've known about in this lifetime that I never studied about, never went to school for, nothing. Like, hi, Tamara.
Hi, Tamara.
In this lifetime, that like I know about law, well, especially in Indiana,
right?
Well, and I know about law in other states. It's crazy. I mean, I've helped my family with a lot of law issues through the years. My cousins, with their in medical, and when it comes to the medical side of it, of course, I worked in it for 35 years. But when it comes to doing the paperwork and the legal side of stuff, when it comes to that, for some reason, I know about it. I don't know how or why or when or what, but I just do. I never studied on it or nothing. It's crazy, but and
it's interesting though that we do know these things.
I know it.
See, I do believe that it's all a past life that we're remembering or something. It's like, obviously, in some past life, you've maybe been a lawyer, or you could have even been a judge or something.
That's what I figure. Or, I may have been a lawyer to get us all from being burnt to death as a state. Who knows? But that was a joke. But You
Well,
know,
I don't know so much. You know,
if you stop and think about it, it makes me wonder if we haven't been somewhere along the line.
yeah,
We kept it quiet, to
yeah,
ourselves, but
yeah. I mean,
I don't
what I always keep remembering back to, I'll keep remembering back to when I was a little girl, and my mum and dad used to always say to us that one day we would all grow up and we would all leave home and things like that. But I always knew, a lot of people would be like, oh no, but I always knew that I wouldn't be far away. I don't know why I always had that knowing in me, but I always knew that I wouldn't need to worry about being disconnected, if you like, in life to my family and things. I always felt them with me, if you understand what I'm trying to say. I never ever felt as if I always felt as if I wasn't alone, that I had my family around me, if you know what I mean. I wasn't scared of losing my family. And I think now looking back, I always had the knowing that family was with you in the background of you, because I think that our ancestors, such as my gran's gran or something, was probably behind me knowing that family's here, and putting that in to my head. Because my big sister and everything would cry their eyes out. And my mum, she always said she was going to be a long distance lorry driver, our Helen. And some ways I would think, are you going to do that, Neil? And I would analyse everything as a kid. So even that, going back to it, I think I knew she would never do that. It's that knowing, if you know what I'm trying to explain. But you don't know where the knowing comes from. You just know.
well, I don't know, the far back as I can remember was, as far as past life goes, the 1600s. Okay, I don't know where it all come from then.
Yeah.
It just what I can see and what I can remember. I see all of us walking, and we're all walking down. It's it's not a gravel road, but it's made out of, like, I don't know, stone. I guess it's a stone street road,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. And we're all walking side by
Yeah.
side down it together, and that's and we started putting
Yeah.
faces to
I
what I was
know.
seeing. Tina said, I don't know how we come on the subject that night, but it was like I remember seeing all of us, and I couldn't see the faces. Well, Tina could see the faces, and I'm like, and she said, "Does this sound
Yes.
right? You tell me." And I'm like, "Yes," and I'm like, "It does." And then as she's telling me this, I'm seeing it in my head. Each face reveal itself as I'm seeing what I knew we was doing. The one face that I could
Yeah.
see was Mark in it all the way. But even
Right.
Christina was like, we all could. We was all in a chat talking. Me and her and Christina was, me, Tina, and Christina was talking in a chat, and that's when we realized that each one of us that was in this, and it's kind of grew from there. But as far as what we remember and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where it's all come from. I the only thing I can say is
Just
it was
got
a
to trust
gift,
the process.
gift from the universe.
You
Is
just
all I can say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think because we have knew each other for a good few years now as well, that, and this is including Sister Sherry and Sister Christina and everybody, even Mysticals, and that Mystical will be watching, guys. She might not be commenting, but she will be watching. So this includes everybody that's in Phoenix as well. I think that even though we've knew each other for a few years and things, we have knew each other in different places somehow, and we're all needed right now for, maybe it might not even be the same purpose, but we're needed right now to be together to push out more spirituality and things. And I know you guys like to do live streams at night, which is more, is that during the night in America that you do your live streams? Or is it round
No,
about 10 or 11 o'clock?
okay. It's we're 6 hours apart.
Right.
I'm 6 hours behind you. So whatever time it is now, I'm 6 hours behind you.
It's 10:30 in Scotland.
Usually,
So
I usually do a live stream anywhere from 6 o'clock my time to 7 o'clock my time. That's when I start. So, but I start early for you guys, I think, because if for you to be there and for Sherry, she's a night owl like I am. But with you, you've got a son that you have to get up for school and all that. So it's hard for you.
Yeah.
So I need to start doing a live stream during the afternoon so you guys can be there more.
I love the lives, guys. Honestly, and I feel as you saying about. I know it was Messenger. I think is connected, but I just feel as if we all made more of an effort to try and go into these live streams where most of us are in there, I think we would figure out a lot more as well with turning on the spirit box and things, and the spirits telling us and connecting us and things. I just regret that I can't make it as late as some of you guys do go live, but I do try and watch back to my best of my ability. But that's what I was going to say to you, and I'm going to say this to you as well. Yeah, we could maybe start doing more live streams where we all try and go up on panel and try and start figuring it out. Because I really do think that, as you're saying, that we've been connected for a long, long time. And it's just a case of figuring it all out.
And I think that we, in this lifetime, I think that we grew close like we used to be. To a certain extent. Because, we had to have been close to be walking down the street together wherever we was at in the 1700s. I mean, we had to trust each other back then. And apparently we stayed trusted to each other because we're together now. So
because we're doing it all over again. We've found each other again.
Right.
Can you just imagine how hard that must be for the guides to place us all together, to figure it all out, so that we have came.
Jacoby he's probably thinking, man, it took me forever to get you.
You better stay together, ladies.
Because I think I'm the oldest out of the bunch, including Danny. I'm older than Danny, so.
I would never have said that, honestly. I thought you were the same age as me.
I'm 60 years old.
Are you? I thought you were only in the 50s. Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. You learn something new every day. But I'm my mystical land. Yay!
No more. I'm no spring chicken anymore, so I mean.
But none of us are spring chickens. I don't think we're supposed to be for this journey. I think that's why there's none of us spring chickens. We've got to be at a certain level of knowledge before I think they enlighten us enough to allow us to teach. Because you've got to have life experience and things. So I don't think anybody young is meant to be totally teaching or totally revealing things, no unless they are totally open and know all their past lives and things and study really hard. But I don't think we're supposed to know young about our past lives and things, is what I'm trying to say. I think we're supposed to figure it out as we go along.
I don't know. I think if we wasn't supposed to know, I think that the universe would take it away. Or that God would take it away. I think there's the universe, then the universe has placed God, and then God has placed everybody else. That's how I feel. Now, I mean, I'm not pushing it on nobody.
No, but I can see how you think.
I feel like the universe as a whole holds a lot of planets. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And for us to think that we're the only living planet.
Yeah, the only living. It's arrogance, isn't it?
Crazy to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, why would we even believe that? I mean, that's just how I feel. So this isn't about extraterrestrial or anything like that, or aliens, but I'm just saying, I do believe that we are not the only ones. Uh, but I think we're meant to know each other in every life. I do. I think it's a
So do
learning
I.
process, and I think that each lifetime we're meant to learn something together. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes.
Uh, I think it took a long time for us to find each other. Uh,
Yeah, I believe that.
but I'm glad we have.
And I think they've done it because we're needed now more than ever as well. If you think about the way the world is going right now, I think that's another reason that we've been placed together right now in this moment in time is because a lot of people need the direction. And for all I can't see spirit and things like you guys can, I'm now learning to know when they're around. And I think just that communication with them and knowing they're there and hearing their voice and things is enough right now for me to push out the message, And maybe I will get to a stage where I see them, but it's not important to see them in my eyes. But I wanted to ask you something as well, Lunar. Is there been ever anything scary happen to you? Is there ever anything that you've thought, no, I'm not doing this, I'm shutting down my gifts? Is there anything like that ever
Well,
happened to you?
I think because yeah, I think because of what happened to me at 5 years old, and I'll explain this because anyway, at 5 years old, I was asleep. I got woke up because I hear this noise in my room. I was upstairs and I had this big white four-poster bed set, and this bed was big for it was big for a child. But anyway, I see something sawing through the floor, and this is just me. I guess it's kid. However, they wanted me to see them come through the floor.
Yeah.
Anyway, to me, they were sawing through the floor. And what comes through it is like this little goblin looking, demon looking, whatever it was. And I jumped out of the bed and because it jumped up on the poster of the bed, one of the posters holding on to it, and it said,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm here to get you." And I said, "You're not getting me." And I jumped out of the bed and it chased me around and I went back over top the bed and back around. And finally went out the door to go down the stairs. Well, I go down the stairs and I remember this vividly. I still remember it to this day vividly. I go down the stairs and I look back and he's standing at the top of the stairs and he says, "I'm going to get you." And I looked at him and I said, "You're never going to get me." I said, "Give it up." I said, "Give up. You're never going to get me." And I ran, whatever a 5-year-old says. But anyway, I ran and I actually fell down the last 3 or 4 stairs and slid down them. And when I had turned around to turn back around and go back, finish going down the stairs, I slipped and slid down the stairs. But anyway, I got up and he was just standing up there laughing. For some reason, he didn't come down the stairs. I don't know if he couldn't come down the stairs or what, but he didn't come down them. I
Mm-hmm.
ran and got my mom and dad, and they said, "Oh, you're just having a nightmare," whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, I wouldn't sleep upstairs. They had to move my entire room had to be moved downstairs. So
No wonder.
we switched it out with my brother. They didn't give him a choice because I refused stairs anymore after that. But
Yeah, I don't
anyway,
think.
I seen him again. I was about 9 or 10 years older, and my mom had asked me to look out the window to see if my dad had come home. She thought she'd heard him pull up the driveway in his semi. So I looked out. It's pitch dark outside. I look out the window to see if it's him, and what do I meet face to face is this little demon. And he tells me, "Oh, I'm going to get you." And I just kind of backed up. I didn't say nothing. My mom was there. I just backed up away from the window and I said, "I don't know, Mom. I can't see if Dad's out there or not." So I didn't say anything to her. Didn't tell her about it. Nothing. I didn't want her to think I was seeing things or going crazy or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I go on with my life, and I pretty much shut down after that. Pretty much, I didn't have
I don't
nothing
blame
to
you.
do with it or anything. Well, you get older, and I was married to this guy who wanted to try going to church and stuff. So I said, all right. So we was going to church, and because I believe in God, I believe in the universe, I believe in that, all that.
Too.
Um,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean I have to believe all of it, but I do believe that God put us here.
Yeah.
Anyway, we was cleaning the church one day. That's what we did. We cleaned the church. Me, him, and the kids was there. We had the doors locked. It broad daylight. This demon standing at the door of the church on the outside. I'm sure I'm the only one that can see him, but I can see him plain as day. And by the way, he grew up with me. He was little at first, and he grew up as I grew up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I haven't yet to figure that one out. But anyway, he's standing there. He says, I'm still after you. I'm gonna get you yet. I said, you will never get me. Give up now because I'm done with you. I said, be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he left. He disappeared and left. He tried opening the door, but every time he touched it, you could tell his hand would burn. He'd jerk his hand back. Well,
yeah.
I told him, you'll never get me. And I haven't seen him since. And after that,
Wow.
it just went on from there. I started opening back up slowly. And it wasn't long. And then I got my divorce and stuff, and then I could really be myself, basically. And that's when it went on from there. To today, you pretty much know the rest.
Wow. See, I don't blame you for closing off for a while. So have you figured out what it is yet then? Have you figured out who it was or what it was yet?
Do what now? What'd you say?
Have you figured out what it was way back then? What the
that
energy was?
I think it was somebody negative because I'm such a positive person.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like negativity.
Yeah.
So because of me being a light worker like we are,
yeah.
basically, I think he was trying to keep me from being that, from being what I really am. And I think he tried to put my light out, as to say, and try to get me to go to the dark side, basically. And that won't ever happen. Not in this lifetime for sure. And
that's interesting though, because if you think about what age were you when that happened, Lunar?
Do what now? If I think about
what age were you when you first saw him?
I was 5.
See, if you think about it, these darker energies, maybe that is when they infiltrate your life, just as you're about to start your journey. Because if you think about it, way back then, obviously your better guides or your good guides have managed to push that off and then close you down for so many years just so you probably didn't attract it again. But think about it, maybe in my situation, maybe because maybe I didn't attract as many good spirits as I should have way back then. Maybe there was one or two little demons that got in my path, and that's why I ended up going down like a bad road of drugs at one point and not being such a nice person at another point and things. So it makes you wonder if way back then maybe it was something that repelled that away from you and it didn't let it get you essentially. But maybe my guides weren't as on top or something. It just makes you wonder. Yeah. If this kind of thing
it's that very well could be.
Yeah.
because I really felt like I wasn't supposed to wake up,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I something woke me up besides him. I
Right.
think he was there to influence me while I was sleeping. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think that he come through to. I think I'm the only one that could see him. If anybody else was there, I think I would have been the only one that could see him.
Yeah.
I think he was there to influence me while I was sleeping because
Yeah.
that's when you're most vulnerable is when you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
the very good possibility that one did come to you in your sleep or at some point and do that. I
Yeah.
never really thought about it like that until just now.
Yeah.
I really think that I was meant to stay asleep through that. Now, because I seen him, that's why I seen him be after that I was awake.
Yeah.
He didn't come in because I'd already seen him.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And
And
I would say that that's a very good possibility. Um,
it just makes you wonder, though, if these things follow us around all our life and, as you said, grow with us, just waiting on a chance to infiltrate our barriers. It just makes you wonder if they're always in the background, just waiting in a chance. I mean, that's interesting that they come so young, because that makes me wonder if maybe at some point in time, the people that are struggling as kids, like my little Zach, he's my grandson, guys, for the people that don't know. There was a while there he was going through like a bad stage where he was just losing it all the time, and essentially breaking televisions and things in my mum's house. And it was just wasn't him. Even when you seen him, it was as if there was a blanket over him, and then he would just snap out it like that. And I started doing little workings for him just to get him good energy. Basically, what I done for Liam when he was younger, just kind of making sure that his energy was clear, making sure that his guides and things were keeping a good eye on him and keeping all the negative away from him. And within about a week, maybe a week and a half, he started coming back to himself again. So that's interesting you say that, because maybe some people don't have somebody like me or somebody like your guides away back then
right,
around them to push these negative energies away from them.
right. Well, I think that, I think there's good in everybody.
Yes.
I think you got to have the
Yeah.
good and bad, period. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that there's not bad in me. There is.
Oh, yeah, there's bad in
I
everybody.
I choose to keep it down and I choose to keep the good up.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Exactly.
some
This. It's, think about this, right? Just for a wee quick second. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. It's quick. You know me, I'm passionate. It's that Scottish blood, guys. Think about this. If we never all met, right? Sister Sherry and I, and Sister Mystical especially, the three of us, if we never all met, half of us wouldn't be together that's in the clan group, and all the ladies that were teaching. I mean, a lot of you guys don't really see the people that mail us and things every day, that us taking the Witchy 101 classes. If we didn't do that, all those people would still be struggling in their journey right now. So if you think about it, even just on that
very
little
true.
scale, how much our guides must infiltrate our lives. So I just wonder if it is a fight about the age of 5 about who's going to grab you,
Well,
the good, the bad.
look what it's done for you, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
brought you out of
yeah,
everything you was in. I mean, I
yeah,
don't have to go into detail, as
yeah.
well as I.
It saved my life. It really did save my life. I really don't think, I think if I didn't take my spiritual path, I probably wouldn't be here just now. I would probably have at some point overdosed, or I would be in jail or something for going off my head and maybe doing something stupid to somebody because they annoyed me. I
Right,
think I hadn't, and I really do believe that, because I don't think Billy had to die for me to be awakened. But I think when Billy died, and I was just right at that stage to want to change and forced to change as well, I think the guides must have aligned all that, because if they didn't, I wouldn't be on this path I'm on either. I would still be doing my selfish deeds and taking drugs and not really caring about anybody I hurt around me, you know. So I think you're right, Leonard. I think the divine energies know when the time is right to infiltrate. It just so happened that way back when you were 5, you had to be awakened early because of the energy that was around you. But they
I
probably
think
don't want to wake you up that early, you know?
it could very well have been family members or whoever woke me up, but
Yeah,
I really believe that.
me too. Yeah. Is there any of your kids got your gift? Is there any that your children got it or
Well,
your grandkids?
my son, my youngest son, they
Right.
both to a certain extent.
Right.
The the my oldest son, I was in the, and my mom had passed away, and it'd been, I don't know, a little over a month, and I guess she had come to visit him. But anyway, I was in the kitchen, and I lived in like a shotgun house, which is called shotgun house, which is a straight line
Yeah.
house, what they call. Anyway, I was in the kitchen, which was in the back part of the house. He was in the front room, which is the living room. And I hear him talking, and I'm thinking, did he? And the door was locked. So I'm thinking, did he unlock the
Right.
door or let somebody in, or who's he talking to? So, I'm thinking, okay, I got to go check on this. So I go in there. I mean, he's only 4 years old at this. No, let's see, how old was he? He was 3 years old when Mama passed. So he was about 3.5. He was almost 4. And so I go in the living room, and he's just talking up a storm. I said, "Who are you talking to?" He said, "I'm talking to Mama." I said, "You're talking to Mama?" I said, "But Mama's not here." And of course, I was closed off at the time, and I didn't feel her there at that time. And he said, "Yes, she's here. She's sitting on the TV." I said, "What do you mean she's sitting on TV?" He said, "She's sitting on the TV." And I had my soap opera on that me and her always watch together. It had just come on. And he said, "We watching her show." And I was like, I said, "What'd she say to you?" And he told me. And I said, "Oh my God, you really are talking to her." So he was 3.5, 4 years old. So if he's seen her and she's sitting there talking to him, I think she come to him because he had an extremely hard time with her passing. I couldn't pass the street
Right.
to her house
Yeah.
that he didn't start screaming that he wanted to go see his mama.
Oh.
I think that she come to calm him, to keep him calm, because after that he got to where he knew she wasn't there. I took him out to the cemetery and told him this is where Mama's at now,
Yeah.
that she's away and all that. But after him seeing her, that's when he finally calmed down. And I think it was her way of getting him to calm and to understand that.
She's probably with him and he feels her energy.
Well, he still feels her to this day. He
Yeah.
doesn't talk about it like he used to, but of course, they get to be teenagers and they grow out of that, where they talk to you.
Yeah.
But my youngest son, in the house we used to live in before I moved in this apartment, he come running out of his room. He seen a black shadow standing in the corner. He woke up, and his black shadow was standing there in his corner. And I don't know who it was, but I dare clear the house out. It was gone by the time I got in there. And
Right.
but anyway, he wouldn't sleep with that door shut for the longest time. Just left the light on. He
Wow.
would not, for nothing, sleep with that door shut. And he was, I want to say he was 14, 15. He was about 15 years old then. So he does see when he's open. He's open to seeing, but he's closed it off. I think now he hasn't seen nothing that I know of
Yeah.
since. But I think it's because he was just waking up that he even was open enough to see it.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
because that's when you're most vulnerable, is when you're waking up, going to sleep, or in your
Yes.
sleep, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're the most open to see anything or to feel anything, or all the above. But
Definitely.
yes, I think that, and he does believe in the paranormal, well, especially after
Well,
that.
he's maybe just not wanting to share what
They,
he all feels and
they
thinks.
both, well, he would. They
Well,
would
what did
both share
you? Right.
because they've shared everything with me. I don't care what they've done.
Right.
They've always told me the truth about everything they've done in their life. Believe it or not,
The
they
problem is
have.
they can't lie to you, Luna. You know
No,
anyway.
they really haven't. They never lied to me about it. I
Hi,
don't care.
Boomer.
I don't care how mad I would get. They didn't lie to me about it. And that's one
Yeah.
thing I told them: if you don't lie to me, you be in less trouble than if you do. And so
That's what
they've
I've
never
always told her
lied to me.
too.
And I will have to say that's probably the one amazing thing that I have done with my kids is that they tell me the truth no matter how bad it hurts or how bad it is. Hi, Boomer. Or whatever it is, they tell me. So
Yes.
they've
And that's
always
a great
told me they
relationship.
didn't or hurt anything. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess that I think both of them have
That's
it.
okay, Chris. We will be finished by then, Christina. We've got 5 more minutes and then we'll go off, sis, okay? I wouldn't miss you and Uncle Danny live. Are you silly?
Yeah, I don't want to miss it either. Um, yeah, I
No,
think
won't
they
be
do.
missing it.
I think my youngest
Yeah.
son
See, I think, yeah,
does most.
I always think if you're honest with your kids and you let them see your vulnerability in life. I mean, I've not had much from Liam. I've had certain things when he was younger, but from he was about 14 to now, he is now 16, I've not had much from him. Because I feel as if I had the fact that my nephew and things all still comes in here full of drugs, and if I tried to hide that from him, then he wouldn't learn anything from it. He would just learn that I'm hiding things. So I let him see the state that my nephew comes in, and I talk to him about it. I say, listen, this is because his mental health. His mental health keeps putting him back here. And I explain why my nephew's in addiction to Liam. And he really understands that, Lunar. He understands now about the cycle and things. So I think I've saved Liam from finding out those hard lessons himself because he sees it. And I've explained to him why it happens and how easily it can happen as well. You know? So that's
Well,
probably your
I,
kids
I
feel. They feel
never,
as if they can trust you.
I never did what you did or went down that
Yeah.
road. But I'm not
Yeah.
saying I couldn't have because I very well could have because my brother did, and but they seen that with him, and it was not only that, their friends and stuff. They had friends and stuff that went down that road and stuff, and they tried it. I'm not going to say they didn't. They did, but they were like, "That's not for us." And I thank God every day, that they didn't. Smoking
Yes.
weed is one thing, but going
Yeah.
going into the rest of it is a whole different ball game.
And
And
drink as well. Drink's the worst. Drink is
yeah,
worse than blood well drugs sometimes.
yeah, yeah, and
Mm.
it's been a struggle because all their friends and stuff was doing it, doing all that stuff, except for
Mm-hmm.
'a couple of them,
Yeah.
and It's like
And you'll
my young.
probably find, Luna, if you analyse their people's families, if you sit and look at some people's families, because I've done it, and you think, why did they fall into addiction considering the family they're in? And then
Well,
you
they can
sit and you analyse it, you know
great.
where they went wrong. Because they probably hid a lot of things from them. You've got to keep talking to your kids. You've got to keep, especially when they're teenagers, you've got to keep keeping that line of communication open, explaining everything that's going on and things. You
Right.
probably did that with your kids, explain the life struggles
I
such as
didn't know nothing. I didn't hold nothing back from them.
yeah,
When it comes to stuff like that, I told her,
yeah.
it's not even
Instead of
that.
kidding them on that you can get okay, son, I can get you those £200 pair of trainers, but you know you secretly can't get them, but you've told him you're going to get them, so you're thinking, oh no, how am I going to get these now? You've got to be honest to say, look, even if it is something as simple as this, guys, I'm just using it as an example. You've got to say, look, I can't afford to get these trainers. I know your friends have all got them, but maybe we could save up together and we'll eventually get them. You've got to communicate. It's either just saying, you're no fucking getting them,
Well,
And I think you probably did that with your kids.
it's kind of like I don't know. My kids, they grew up poor. I wasn't able to give my kids everything.
Yeah, of course.
I pretty much raised them by myself for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, even though they would have, their dads in their lives. It's just a long story. But anyway, for the most part, it was me. I was the solid person in their life. So yeah, I didn't hold nothing back. I told them, but they seen their uncle doing stuff and they knew about others in my family because addiction runs in families. People may say it doesn't, but I'm telling you, mine is.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Oh,
I mean,
yes. Because people see the pattern. Yeah.
And I mean,
you see the pattern.
And I don't judge people because of it, because it's hard. It's hard for anybody who's in that to come out of it. I think it's wonderful what you've done and what you've come through it. It was hard for you to do that, but you did it. And
the thing is, though, people need to realise that you've got to want it. Yeah,
you don't need to
be telling you really want
it. You shouldn't have done this. They should be patting you on the back that you even come out of it, come through it alive, much less stop. Because that's not easy to do.
You find, though, when you do get to the other side of it, I mean, I know sometimes I still do take my methadone and things. I've still got a methadone script. A prescription, sorry. I don't always take it, but I have still got that there in case I need it. And I think that is why I do so good in recovery, is because I know that the medication is there if I need it. And I don't always take it. I sometimes have to take back 4 or 5 bottles of it a week back to the chemist because I won't touch it. But knowing that it's there is a good help, because some mental health days that you have, you think, okay, I could just run straight back into that addiction. And you don't, because you think twice and then you think, okay, settle down. Why are you feeling like this? What's happened? And it could be something as simple as you've seen somebody for your past, anything, and it just puts you back in that cycle. So now I know to stay away from that thought. And sometimes I'll take like a bottle of milk. I'm only on 20 millilitres I'm supposed to take, but I don't. So I'll only take like maybe 5 millilitres or something, just to make my addiction part of my mind get something, if you know what I mean.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I get that 100%.
Instead of trying to starve it out of that, that's where a lot of people go wrong. They say, I'm never touching nothing again. That is it. I'm totally off it. Dun, dun, dun. And then they get no well. Go ask for help. Even if it's just to somebody that's been through it. Go ask them how they've done it. Ask them to help you. Put it down, even if it's in writing, how they did it, and follow the steps. There are so many ways to help people in recovery. It's crazy. And it just takes that person that's an addiction to say, I need help, I can't do this anymore, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something easy to come through. I mean, I commend you for what you've been through and how you come through it, and that I think that you opening up spiritually is actually what has saved you.
Yes, it definitely has, Lunar. I'm the
And I
first to
think
say
that
that.
you can,
Yep.
I think you can honestly say that it was probably your spirit guides and
Yeah.
the will to help you from friends and just being around and finding all of us. It was
Yeah.
meant to it, even though from past life it was still meant for you this lifetime for you to
Yep.
run into Z that night to get to us and for all of us to
Yeah.
meet. It just was meant to be that way.
It was.
I've
And that is
always
a
felt
great note. And
I've
that's a
always
great note to end it
connected with
on,
you.
guys. Yeah.
I've always
Do you
felt
know,
a connection in
Lunar,
sharing
I
and
am so happy that I met you all, okay? And I think there's a lag. Yeah, I'm so happy that I met you all, guys, honestly. Lunar, you don't. I know that I'm the worst for it as well with confidence, but I did want to say this to you at some point. And it's a great time to say it before we do end the show, but I'm so grateful for meeting you, especially because I think along the way when we all first started, that you were one of the first people I ever had seen give somebody a message through psychicness, if you know what I mean. Like when you did give that for Michelle, you were the first person that I'd seen that gave somebody a true message, if you know what I mean, through being a medium or whatever. So I think you especially sparked that part in me that wanted to start doing my tarot card readings and things again. I think through seeing you give Michelle the messages and give the little messages when you were trying to open up, I think it opens up something in somebody else if they see the struggle in somebody opening up again. So I think you doing that, giving your messages out, helped me to start doing it more. So I want to thank you for that. And I also want to thank you for just being amazing at helping us all as well, because I know I have messaged you a few times about the journey and you've always spoke to me and helped me. So I thank you for
you
that.
have. And I remember when I first met you that yeah, you did ask questions and stuff, and I could answer a lot of them. I wasn't
Yeah.
young, but yeah, I could answer a lot. Hi, Carl. But
Everybody.
I feel like it was meant. I knew when I first saw you that night in that graveyard. I knew then I was meant to know you. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I just knew. Same with
Yeah.
Sherry. Same with Christina. I knew that we was connected in some way.
Hi,
I
girl.
didn't put it all together, but it has pieced itself together as we went along. So
Yep.
yeah,
Mhm.
I do feel that
It's
way.
not finished. And it's
And
definitely not finished. We're still
no,
learning.
it's not at all.
Yeah.
And you're welcome. And I'm glad that I could do that for you.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm,
glad
I, I'm
if
so happy that I met
I
you
can do
all
it for
once.
this one person, I've done I've done more than some people do, and I am glad that I was able to help you and help Shelly and help whoever I have helped,
You
you know,
have.
over the years.
And on that note, guys, I'm going to end it there. I'm going to say thank you to Luna for coming up and opening up a little bit more about her journey with us. It's been great to actually dive deep a little and see how it all works out, how it all worked for you, and how we kind of intermingled a little bit on the journey. So next week we have got Misty Mountain coming along to take the hot seat, guys. Do we get to know her a little bit better next week? So, is there anything you want to tell anybody, Mystical? I was going to say that because I read her name. Is there anything you want to say, Lunar, before you go watch Christina and Uncle Glenn?
I'll go live tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow evening my time will be 6 or 7. I'm gonna set it. I gotta ask a couple people what time first. But I'll be live tomorrow. It's Sunday, and we'll be back tomorrow. This past week, I've had family stuff and other stuff going on. So in the community, so that's why I didn't go live this past week. But I'll be back tomorrow. But that's it.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll watch for that, guys, and I will share it out in my community wall. So we're going to let every August go, guys. Uncle Danny and Christina is live over on Christina and Son's Ghost Squad. So definitely go check that out, everybody that is in the chat, in my show and in Lunar's. And I'm going to say blessings for Scotland, everybody, and going to end the show. Please remember and subscribe to each other. And just live your dreams, guys. The time is now to get those dreams out there and started. I've started mine. Please go start yours. And with that, I'll let you all get back to your Saturday night. And I'll just play the outro, guys, just so you can all say goodbye to each other. But do we find it? No, it's there. It's good night, everybody.